Now we're going to go through some of the common problems that people make with the squat and how you're going to correct them using weights. So I have my model here, the white black rhino, okay? So first of all, we're going to shallow squat, okay? It's front squatting. So she basically, before you go, let me explain what you're going to do. There's a rough and a smooth part here and a rough and a smooth part here. She always finds those two parts, because if she finds those two parts with her hands, then she knows that that's the middle of the bar. First thing. Second of all, the height, easy. The height of the bar here is just below her shoulders. So that if it was just above, she would have to tiptoe to get onto it. And if it was way down below, she would have to duck. Both of those things are bad. So make sure that this is the right height. Okay, now when you get into position, so front rack the bar, and stop. Her hips are directly underneath the bar. So hyperextend forward. A lot of people do this to try and get in position, where their hips are forward. That's wrong, because that means that the weight is going through her back, and her hips are, real power is in front of the bar. So hips beneath the bar, a slight bend in the legs, at elbows, points in the mirror, triceps down, stand up, step back. Okay, now she's going to do a shallow squat, okay? So squat down, stand up. Okay, again, squat down, stand up. Okay, now rack the bar. She's going to walk forward, find the space. Okay, so what she did there was she went down to above the parallel being below the knees, okay? So that is a problem in many squats, because range of motion is inhibited, so results are inhibited. She's going to get a less result because she moved the weight through less distance. So how do we overcome this, okay? First of all, flexibility. If you're not flexible, that's a clanger and it's not going to work with your weights, okay? So there are stretches you can do. We do them in CF and we also do them in body salad, so you should know them. The extended lunge is very good and the dump in the woods is very good, because they both work the leg muscles that you need to be flexible in order to do the squat. So practice them and don't just get into the mood because everyone else is doing it, but actually try to push yourself. The next stretch, which I think is even better than the stretch and dump in the woods, the next thing is called hanging off the bar, okay? I made that name up myself. All right, so you're gonna take your hands on the bar like this, and you get down into this position. So she's in a classic squat position. Her feet are flat on the floor, toes pointing slightly out, bum below the knees, knees out wide. It's exactly as she would be in the squat, and her bum is below her knees. So why then is this so very good? I'll explain it to you, okay? Is that inside her massive head, there's a brain, okay? And it's the central nervous system that commands her body, that tells her body what to do. Flick this pinky. Her central nervous system told her to flick the pinky. Flick the pinky back. It's making me feel ill, okay? So the central nervous system is what commands the shit. Now, this here that you're watching, she's actually now having a conversation between her hips, knees, ankles, joints, and her central nervous system. So you can, it's like if I tell you how to drive a car, and I take you through a multiple choice about how to drive a car, versus putting you behind the wheel of a car and making you feel what it's like. This is behind the wheel of the car. So 30 seconds in this position, and when you're here, you're trying to feel, what does it feel like to have your hips below your knees? Feet in perfect position, knees out wide and chest up. Stand up. Okay, 10 seconds on, then you go back into it, and that's the way you're going to get used to squatting below parallel. Okay, and then you're going to pick the bar up again, Janine, and do a deep squat, please. Okay, and everything stays the same. Feet here, hips under the bar, elbow points forward, triceps pointing down. Everything stays the same every time you squat. Come back, feet apart a little bit, squat down, deep, stand up. The next problem that we're going to talk about when people squat is this comes in loads and loads, is basically when, let's do it without weight, okay? It's when people squat and they squat, that's too much. Squat, make it more, like, okay, get out of the way. Can't get the staff. Okay, it's this position, okay? And they put their weight here, their knees come in, and they push up like this. They often have wide legs, and it feels safer to create the frame, like this kind of thing here, okay? Like this, pushing up. So the weight is distributed on the inside of the foot, okay? The problem with distributing the weight on the inside of the foot is that the pressure goes through the kneecap, inside, rather than through the muscle, okay? So, how are we going to fix that? First of all, get the right footwear. If you're in crappy shoes like this and you're squatting, you've got no stability, so you can come onto the inside of your foot. If you're in a shoe where you've got the shoe is locked into the sole, that's going to be a lot harder for your foot to move around. That's the first thing. Second of all, the exercise we just showed you, hanging off the bar. Hang off the bar. When you get someone who squats on the inside of the ankle, they will automatically squat inside like this, because that's how they're used to squatting. They've programmed their central nervous system to squat with their knees on the inside. So when they get in this position here, their toe will be pointing out, as they always are. Their knees will be inside like this. So you're gonna walk around and actually physically pull their knees outside their toes, like this, okay? Pull them out wide. So now you can see, or she again feels what it's like to squat with her knees outside her toes. Okay, I've lost count of the amount of times where somebody has actually just picked it up, immediately changed the whole programming of their squat by the fact that this one here allows them to physically feel what it's like to have the knee outside the toe. Okay, so that's ankle squatting. Stand up. So the way you pick it, if you're doing this, is that if you're finding when you're squatting that the weight is going on the inside of your foot, if you're finding that your knees are tending to wobble in towards the center, okay, or if someone from the class tells you, you're squatting like this too far in, you must fix that. Start by hanging off the bar. Drop the weights, get used to doing it under a light weight with the correct form, yeah? And one more thing about this. I often see people squatting with their knees. When we say knees wide, they put their feet out like this. And what that means then is that they bring their knees inside. So all their bones and their musculature is all twisted. Okay, all of the pressure is actually going on the inside of the ankle again. So remember, feet aren't like that when you squat. It's 11 and 1, feet look like that. It's just outside. If you want something to go wide, it's knees that go wide, not toes.